Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Rothkoff. Welcome to another edition of Who's Who of Elder Care Advocacy in the Southeastern PA and South and Central New Jersey regions. I am managing attorney at Rothkoff Law Group, an elder care law firm serving seniors and caregiver loved ones in both Pennsylvania and New Jersey. And we are privileged to have today Nancy Connor. Nancy is the founder and CEO of Smart Adaptive Clothing, which is a fascinating company and a company that is sorely needed out there. And so, first of all, I'd like to welcome Nancy. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks, Jerry.
And you're quite welcome. And I thank you for graciously donating your time to an important cause and a great company. So, tell us a little about Smart Adaptive Clothing, the why you founded the company, what's the purpose of the company, and really what was the impetus to start this? Because a lot of people don't think about people who need assistance with ADLs, like dressing, and people just take it for granted. You know, they wake up in the morning and then they just get dressed, but it doesn't work like that for everyone. So can you talk about what was the impetus to found a company like this? Because I know in many cases, from inclusive of yourself, it was a very personal issue, and that is the reason you started this company.
Yes, it was. And, it's amazing in life. I think we just adapt as human beings, we adapt. And I was in corporate America for over 20 years. And then a light bulb went off. My father was living in assisted living. He needed a little more help. And after being there for about 10 to 12 months, he broke his hip, his hand/wrist, and then the same hip, all in that 10 to 12 month period. So he needed help dressing. And my father was someone who always wore a button down shirt and slacks, even after retirement. So at this point, when he needed help, the nurses and the aides didn't want to take the time to dress my father in his desired attire. And I always paused there. They didn't want to take the time. So they suggested that my dad wear pullover sweatshirts and sweatpants. And that was not at all his style. So the family and I, we looked around for something that was stylish, something that was similar to what he wore, nothing luxurious, just nice button down and slacks. We couldn't find anything, so we went along with the sweatshirt idea. And my thought was, okay, there are similar people like my dad, someone with a disability, MS, ALS, Parkinson's, and caregivers like us as the family or a professional caregiver. And I thought, why can't we do something? There has to be a better way of making nice, stylish, easy on, easy off clothing. So my dad passed in 2016, and this just continued to, chirp in the back of my brain. So in December of 17, I walked away from my career of 20 plus years in the medical device world, and I started a clothing company because you always go medical device to clothing.
So, I mean, and that's actually the story in many, especially working with seniors and those with disabilities, even from a legal perspective. Many of my colleagues who work all across the country in elder and disability law started out, in some cases, a personal issue, whether experience as a caregiver with a loved one. It's maybe their child has autism and they learned the system and navigated the system on their own, and now they're teaching others how to navigate the system. So that's typically the way many people get into the elder care advocacy or elder care space, so to speak, services for seniors and individuals with disabilities like you as a personal issue. So let's talk about your company itself.
Okay.
It's a little less than it's about 3 years old, 3 to 4 years old. And tell me what makes from a layperson's perspective, and look at me, I don't know if you can tell this, I am not a man of fashion. I don't know, huh? And what do you?
You look great. I love it.
So I'm more of what your dad does it, especially over the past year with COVID. I'm the sweatshirt guy. So but so I would not be labeled, including my wife. I don't think she would label me as a man of fashion. But regardless, tell me what makes the clothing adaptable. I'm just thinking like there's Velcro all over it. It's like Letterman, like Velcro man. Remember
Oh
the
my
old,
God, that's right.
that's my idea. It's like you just jump on a wall. It's. I said so. I mentioned Letterman to the Velcro man to my someone who's like 25 in my office. They had no idea what I was talking about. But oh well, it
I
was
forgot
their
that.
hair loss. But seriously, is it? I mean, what makes the clothing adaptable?
Good question. So we do use Velcro in our clothing, and what we do is our blouses and shirts look, I call it traditional. And we keep the buttons on the front placket or the closure and the cuff. So you have that traditional appearance. And we have Velcro. You can see this, you can zoom in. Right here is a Velcro square, and you literally just pat it down. So if someone has loss of fine motor skills, dexterity, paralysis, if you have a cognitive issue, Alzheimer's, brain injury, etc., well, now you don't have to worry about managing a button for your caregiver. You just pat it down. It's easy on, easy off. It looks great. You can't tell there's a difference. And it saves so much time. And a little anecdote, I do a lot of presentations, and I've done presentations for multiple groups when we could. And an example of that is when I was presenting to a Parkinson's support group, a man and a woman came up to the front, just put the clothing on because they love the idea so much. And the gentleman who was there, he was in a shirt and tie suit, and he told the group how it took him 15 minutes just to do one button on his cuff, and then imagine the other 9 buttons. So this can be a game changer for people, and the individual wearing it themselves or the caregiver dressing someone. So picture assisted living or short-term rehab, etc., how much time you can save when you're that staff person. And the individual, the person, the human being, our loved one, can wear the clothing they want to wear and how they want to present themselves.
So are your customers individual consumers mainly, or is it or companies that work with seniors and those with disabilities, or is it more an individual consumer who would hop on your website? That's
It's across
clothing.
It's across the board. So we have individuals who purchase our clothing directly from us on the website, smartadaptiveclothing.com. And we also work through wholesale accounts. So we have about 5 wholesale accounts here in the US. We have one in London. We're about to open one in Australia. So yeah, you can purchase it either way, however you find out about us. And the biggest challenge is awareness. So it's great that you have me on today so we can share and help our seniors, our caregivers dress and lead with style how they want.
So, as you were talking, I was thinking of a story of a client of ours just a few years ago. She has some dementia. She's lives in a assisted living memory care community in South Jersey, and I think the key that you hit on, what a lot of people may not pick up on, is it's a matter of personal autonomy and give them a sense of independence. Yes, and you have to modify their typical attire, but it's a sense of independence. And I'll give you a quick example. A woman who, maybe like your late father, was always dressed to the nines, wasn't not into the COVID sweatshirt look, the t-shirt and shorts look, the sweats. It just didn't work for her. She was always immaculate, always fixed her hair up right, as Springsteen would say, and she wanted to get out there. And so the staff in this memory care community thought the woman was just antisocial. She didn't want to come out. and the reason it was more of she was embarrassed as to her appearance, that
Oh,
she couldn't dress the way she once did, that she didn't have the makeup uh, perfect, like, or her hair perfect like she always did before she left the house, before she moved in the assisted living, and her memory started to deteriorate a bit. So I think, and so the point that you were making is you really need to walk in someone's shoes, so to
mhm.
speak, to understand what their mentality is. This woman was just embarrassed. She would be happy to come out and join the crowd, but if she had maybe similar, so she had Parkinsonian like symptoms, so she had difficulty getting dressed, and so you fix her hair up right, you do her makeup, you get some nice smart adaptive clothing courtesy of Nancy Connor, then she's ready to rock.
Right? It's so
So
simple.
it sounds so simple, and it's such a simple concept, but people just don't look at it. And where people don't have the time, I mean, I see it all the time, and
Mhm.
like whether with say a spouse, one
Right.
spouse helping the other try to button and say it's just not doable.
It's hard.
Um, so there is so by having the clothing through smart adaptive clothing, you potentially take some of the embarrassment away. You
Yep.
can't button your shirt because you have Parkinson's. And the like. So I think that's huge for many people. In
I think I think so too. And I wanted to jump in because this is a great point, Jerry. Especially if someone has a cognitive issue, memory loss, Alzheimer's, and coincidentally, my dad had Alzheimer's. And we all know if someone has dementia, Alzheimer's, memory impairment, that routine is key, right? And routine includes dressing. And if you're a woman, you just mentioned with the hair and the makeup, let's keep that routine as regular as possible so you can feel that individual or loved one again as a human being with feelings. And oftentimes when I talk to people with family members that maybe are a senior and they say, We don't care, we just want mom or dad dressed, doesn't matter if they're in pajamas."
right. And
But
there
you
was and there's a great movie that I just saw within the past 3 weeks, um, about a couple with one with Alzheimer's, and so one called Supernova.
okay,
And if you haven't seen it, have not seen it, Nancy, as well as those who are watching this video, go see it.
I will.
There's a scene where it's a same-sex couple, and it's a scene which is really outstanding, related to a loving relationship with Alzheimer's. By the way, you don't see that much, so that alone is well worth it. But there was a scene where one spouse was helping the other spouse button his shirt, and that, and I'm picturing, as you are talking, I'm picturing that scene in Supernova. It's also it's out in theaters, and it's also, I believe, it's streaming on what I don't know what it's streaming on, but Prime Video or Netflix. You can probably find it online for a nominal fee. Supernova, go see it.
Okay.
It stars Stanley Tucci, by the way.
I
And
love
by
him.
the way, and if you like Italian food, the show with Stanley Tucci on Sunday night on CNN is well worth it as well. Just as a side note, Searching for Italy, it's a great show. It really makes you hop on a plane tomorrow and head to Italy for some great Italian food. But that's
I'm on it.
but it's a fabulous movie. So what's the future of your company? Give me a 5-year plan in 30 seconds or less.
Okay.
So in other words, where do you want to take this? I think it's a fantastic idea, and I know you've been expanding over the past several years, but where do you see this company 5 years from now, and how can we help you achieve it? Because I think it's a great idea, and there are so many people and their caregivers who can use clothing that you have to offer. So what do you see the future of your company?
Okay, great. And I'll take all the help I can get. Um, so I see it, we're growing. Right now we have blouses and shirts for women and men. Then we will get into, we're about to launch shirt dresses. We almost did it last year and the pandemic hit the next week. So shirt dresses, then slacks, and then within 5 years, I would personally love to see this mainstream in your big box retailers like a Nordstrom, a Macy's, etc. And there are brands that, like a Kohl's, they sell some adaptive clothing online only. So I would like smart adaptive clothing in the store, just like you can find a Ralph Lauren or a Jones of New York. And you just go over to our section and you can find other adaptive clothing brands too, because we need multiple brands, right? I mean, no one company can supply the need for folks around the globe. And, just to talk about folks with disabilities, 1 in 4 American adults is living with some type of disability that includes dressing. And then we can talk about people, the numbers of Parkinson's cases and MS and Alzheimer's. So the need is there. And sometimes I feel like this is even more beneficial to the caregiver dressing someone. It's probably equal, honestly, but it's such a need for that caregiver. And as you mentioned, the scene of dressing someone else, it's difficult to dress someone else. And if there's an impairment, a cognitive impairment, sometimes people can't follow the cues and then they get upset and defensive. So it's almost like a battle. So easy on, easy off, just pat the Velcro down like I showed you. Have some fun, lead with your style, build confidence and independence.
So Nancy, if someone is interested in the adaptive clothing for themselves or a loved one, what's the best way to reach out to a representative of your company? Phone, website, what's the best way? Can you give out that information, and where would they find the different clothing that you have to offer?
Oh, great. Thanks, Jerry. So if you go on the web, we are smartadaptiveclothing.com. Our phone number is 267-818-4407. You can find us on social media and reach out to us. We are here, we're local, we're based in Philadelphia, and we would love to help you and your loved ones lead with style.
Buy locally. You got it. A Philly-based company. Absolutely. Support local companies like Smart Adaptive Clothing. So,
yes.
Nancy Connor, thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you today. Best of luck to you and your company, and thank you for all you do helping to give independence to chronic seniors with chronic healthcare issues and those with disabilities. So thank you for everything you do. And I would, after you see Supernova, come back and we'll talk. We'll critique the movie. It'll be like a Cisco and Ebert.
Okay.
All right. So
I love movies. Thank you, Jerry. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, everyone.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time. Have a great rest of the day.
You too.